a.m.
25 minutes before 8 o'clock. Nice looking Thursday morning. Huh? It's good to feel it's Thursday. It's like the day
It is
more.
gorgeous.
And it's Friday, and then it's the weekend. I don't know why I like weekends so much. I like my job, so why do I care about weekends?
I like the fact that I can like roll over and look at the clock, and if it's not, if I want to, I can stay in an extra 10 minutes. I think that's why I like the weekend, because I know I don't have to rush.
Weekdays, yeah.
No.
All right, so I do have one more thing I want to tell you that I didn't tell you I was going to tell you.
Okay.
If you ever, God forbid, I hope this isn't something any of you have to ever go through. But if you ever know somebody who's in a coma and you are spending time with that person in the hospital room, and maybe the prognosis is dismal, never give up. Never, ever, ever give up. There was a story this morning that I was looking at of this young girl who was in a coma, and she was reporting, and I've heard this from so many people who've been in comas, that she was aware of everything that was going on in the room, even though it looked from their perspective like she was out, like she was sleeping. Mm-hmm. She could hear everything. But what was interesting about what she said is that while she was in a coma, and you got to watch this video if you can find it. It's a hot video right now, trending, whatever they call it. So people would talk to her, and the words that they said she understood, but they become filtered, and then they become her reality. Mm-hmm. What she is experiencing is clearly influenced by what she is being told and what she is hearing. And so there was a sign up in her room that they showed. It said, "No, only positive thoughts spoken in this room," or something like that. And so people would come in there and talk positively to her. They wouldn't say, "Oh my gosh, you look so bad. I hope you're okay." They wouldn't say stuff like that. They would say, "Hey, you got to get up because we're gonna go on a road trip, and we're gonna celebrate, Johnny's party on Wednesday, and we're gonna." And so she would be in these places, and she would be these beautiful places she would go to in her mind, and it felt like she was really there.
Wow.
It felt like she was really there. So now, this led me to a story. You know how stories on the internet will lead to another story, and this one is from a year ago. And the headline of this one says, "Teen wakes from coma when family sings hymns."
Oh my gosh.
All right, so I will read you the story, a little bit of it anyway, but I want to say this about this. After reading the story, you already know what the story says from the headline. Mm-hmm. This teen was in a coma. I'll tell you without reading the whole thing to you that she was basically determined she was going to die. Mm-hmm. And this family, a very, very religious family, decided to sing hymns to her while she was in the bed. Mm-hmm. She's alive and well. She came out of the coma. She was in the coma because she was hit by a car, by the way. In other words, it wasn't a medically induced coma. It was an actual coma. Mm-hmm. Not that a medically induced one isn't actual, but you know what I mean. In other words, it did not look good. Doctors did not think, and in fact, doctors said it was a miracle that she even came out of the coma, let alone survived, and is now walking around again and doing well. This was just 1 year ago, last March of 2014.
Thank God.
Thank God. That is the most profound thing you could ever say, because that is exactly what I believe happens. And so if you ever are in a room with somebody who is in a coma, talk to that person. And when that person comes out of that coma, if anybody says to you, "Well, I know you believe that you contributed to the healing, or I know that you believe that your talking made a difference, but the chances are they probably would have going to come out of it anyway." No, I don't think so. I think when somebody feels loved, when somebody feels wanted, when somebody feels like somebody else feels there's a purpose for them to be here, then they stay here.
Yeah.
I don't even need to read you the story at all now that I've told you that. But that was my thinking on this, is that what the girl was telling us, the girl who is talking about the coma that she experienced, she's basically telling us that our interactions with each other play a huge role in and how we feel about our very existence. And I would go to say that goes beyond being in a coma. That goes to me and you right now as we're sitting here. Because whenever we do anything, we put ourselves on the line a lot, constantly. And so we're always up for somebody making a decision to either say something nice to us in print, like on the internet, or say something nasty. Fortunately for us, a good 90%, I won't say 99, but a good 90% of the comments are good. We do have 10% that are bad, and maybe 1% that is deserved, because obviously we don't do everything perfect.
Yeah, that's right.
But I don't think we deserve a good 90% of the bad stuff, and we probably don't deserve a complete 100% of the good stuff either. We probably have some kind people.
Some are really nasty.
But it's the same thing that you already know, that when you have somebody say something bad to you, it's like doing a show. I did a show for 300 people at a school when I was much younger. And there was one guy heckling me. I mean, heckling me bad. And I just felt so bad after the whole show. And the girl who hired me said, "Gosh, they loved you." And I said, "Really? It didn't seem like it." And she said, "Oh, that guy, he does that to everybody." And I said, "Really?" I said, "Why do you allow him in here?" She said, "Well, he's a student, he pays, and And so they have had a very liberal position about having hecklers in their audiences. And she said, "Look at it this way. You had 399 people who loved you. And, 299 people who loved you, and one person who appeared to not."
Yeah.
But she assured me that was just always the way he was. But even if he really hated me for what I was doing, not me, he just was not happy with my performance, because he wanted heavy metal is what it was.
Well, of course. People
but
are
anyway,
that way.
But I think that's true for any of us. And you want to know something? I was probably 30 or close to 30 at that time. Can you imagine what a 15, 16-year-old goes through when they go through that? It's got to be 100 times worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because they haven't hardened at all yet.
No.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Just to add to what you were saying, this is Jan.
Hey, Jan.
You guys have interviewed people from hospice a million times, and you know how hospice tells family members that when their loved ones are slipping closer and closer to death, you got to tell them that it's okay to go, because those words are powerful, and it gives the person who is dying permission to go.
Yeah, I believe that too. Yeah.
And so you're talking about, talking to people in comas and saying, "Come on, you got to wake up," to bring them back. And on the other hand, you can say, "It's okay to go. We understand your end is near," blah, blah, blah. I think words are incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right.
The Bible says that God spoke the world into being, so words are definitely powerful, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, okay, well, you guys have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Yeah, that was a good thing to remember. But how do you draw the line? Like if the doctor says if the doctor says to you that your 18-year-old has got a 5% chance of living, well, then you know what, you grab onto that 5%. That's what you do.
Exactly.
You say, okay, that 5%, you got the doctor says you've got a chance.
Yeah.
You don't got to say how much of a chance. The doctor says you've got a chance.
Exactly. Well, my mother-in-law had a stroke, and then she was put into the hospital, and then she had another stroke and was in a coma, and then Ronnie and his brother were out on the road, and so my sister-in-law would go up during the daytime, and I'd sit with her at night and just talk. The nurses would let me in because it was after 8 o'clock, and they would let me stay and everything, and she never came out of the coma, but at least we felt like we were there, and we talked to her, so she was never alone. Very hard.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation. All right, I'm not to jump tracks and go totally a different direction, but I promised I would do this, and then we'll talk about the John Boehner thing with the body parts from aborted babies being sold possibly by Planned Parenthood.
Yeah,
that's a real disturbing story.
Gosh.
But one more light one, if you don't mind. Well, not that was a light one. That was a pretty heavy one, too. But Pluto, the discovery of Pluto, we were talking about it yesterday. We were saying, did Disney name the dog Pluto in the cartoons before the planet? Was the planet named after the dog? Was the dog named after the planet? So here's the answer to this question.
Okay.
Percival Lowell. That's the name you need to know. Percival Lowell. Okay? The founder of the observatory that bears his name had often wondered if there might be a ninth planet. He died in 1916 before it could be found. It wasn't found until 1930.
Oh, my.
One of those doing the looking was 20-year-old Clyde Tombaugh, a Midwestern farm boy who had always been interested in the stars. His college plans were delayed after a hailstorm destroyed the crops on his parents' farm. When he had exhausted the limitations of his Sears and Roebuck purchased telescope, Clyde built one of his own. He mailed the specs to the scientists at the Lowell Observatory. Percival Lowell, that's why I wanted you to remember the name. He mailed the specs to them so they could build him a telescope. The astronomers were so impressed that a young person like that would want that they offered him a job, and he went.
Oh, nice.
And he found the 9th planet, Pluto, on February 18th, 1930.
Oh, wow. So it was before.
Okay.
Yay.
Scientists in Flagstaff, Arizona were in no hurry to name the newly discovered planet. They figured, hey, it's been around for billions of years. What's the point in hurrying to name it? Even though they hurried to name the features they had on it.
Exactly.